Hi everyone. Today I would like to show you an example of how to use icon map. In my example, I have a grid of 4 districts, and each district has 4 neighborhoods, and within these we are doing a count of pigeons. And then I have some filters here, so we can, for instance, put the filter on district B and get the total pigeon count here, and from there we can, for instance, go to B2 and then get the pigeon counts only in this neighborhood. Icon map is not part of the standard visuals, but you can get it if you click on the 3 dots here. Now if you're on a work or school computer, you can use the get more visuals, but that will be blocked on a private computer. If you put a private email in here, it will not work. But in terms of icon map, you can actually go to the website iconmap.com and download it here. Once you have it downloaded, you can click here again and click import a visual from a file. As input to our Power BI, we'll be using a CSV file. In the CSV file we have the district, the neighborhood, and the pigeons, and then we have the geometry. So the geometry needs to be in the well-known text or WKT format. Now if you do have a shapefile, you can use a free program like QGIS, GIS program, to convert it into a CSV file with the geometry in its own field, written out like this. But in this case, I used a Python script. I made a little Python script to generate the grid. If you do want to follow along what I'm doing here, you can also create this Python script. I won't go through it, but I will just pause here, so you can go ahead and pause the video and type off what we see here. So there are just 2 cells here, so I'll just let you pause so you can get the top cell. And then I'll scroll down to the bottom cell. So let's start from scratch with an empty Power BI document. So the first thing I want to do is to just import the visual icon map. So I click on get more visuals, and I will import a visual from a file. So I have downloaded from the website the icon map visual. So I'll add that in. And now you see we have it here. So let me just click it. And now we have an empty icon map we can begin with. I also need to enter some data, so I'll import the CSV file I showed before. So I'll have to go up to get data, text CSV, and then I will import the grid CSV, the latest in here. Okay, and it all looks fine, so I will load in the data. Okay, now we can see that the grid show up on the data view over here. So we will now start to import the data into the icon map. So the first thing we want to do is to take the neighborhood and add it under category. And then we want to put the pigeon count under the size. Okay, and after adding this, you can see now a map showed up, but we are in the wrong location. So we also need to import the geometry. Now in order to import the geometry, you need to go into format your visual, and then go under objects, and then under image WKT GeoJSON we will choose the field called geometry, which then represents the well-known text or WKT format. Alright, and now we see we're in the right location. So if we zoom out, we can see we're in Lower Manhattan. I just chose that location in random, and I went into Google Maps and took the upper left and lower right corner, and that's what I inserted as the starting point of the Python script I showed before. Okay, so far so good. Let's also add some labels to it. So I just activate it. I click on it to activate it. So we'll go under Format, and we'll tick on the labels. So for the labels, we will use the neighborhood ID. Then maybe we would like to make it a bit larger. And to make it look nicer, we can also do something like rounding the corners. So let's just, you can see it gives a softer look to it. Okay, the next thing we want to do is to add some filters. So I'll go back in here. Now, before choosing anything else, I need to make sure that I click away from this, otherwise I would just turn this map into a filter. We don't want that, so I just click one side outside of it, so you can see the border disappeared. It's no longer activated. And now we can go ahead and add a filter, or a slicer as they call it. Okay, so in this one we want to put the district. And we actually would like to have another slicer for the neighborhood. So again, I click away from it and add another slicer. I'll put it up here next to it. And I'll just adjust it so it has the same size as this one. I think it's here. And this one we put in the neighborhood. Okay, I think I'll expand it a little bit down so we can see everything, even when no district is selected. Alright, so now if we click on a district, you see that it zooms into it, and it will only activate the neighborhoods that are here. Now, one thing I do want to avoid is that if I click a neighborhood, it will affect the filter over here, so it only shows the district B. We want all the districts to be visible, even if we select a neighborhood under that district. So what we need to do there is go up under Format, Edit Interactions. So with neighborhood selected, we can see with this filter activation here that this filter affects this filter. We don't want that, so we click on this None icon here, and now we can see that even though we selected something under B, we still have the ability to select others. Now we do need to click away from that before going back, otherwise it's still visible. Then I'm sure there's a way to avoid that as well. I don't know that right now. Okay, so one last thing we want to add is a little card that shows the count of pigeons. So again, I must remember to click outside of any visual. And I need to find the card. Let's see, how does that look again? Here. Okay, so I'll just make sure it lines up with everything. You can see it snaps when it lines up. Okay, so what I want to add here is the count of pigeons. Okay, so now we can see a count, whatever we select, we see the count of pigeons. And that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone.